Hello and welcome back. So today I'm going to do the healthcare challenge, and it asks about a medical personnel that has made a difference to your life. And I immediately think of my doctor, long before we knew that any of us had HEDS. My doctor believed me and my kids, and that's huge, as many people know. He encouraged me to search for answers to why we were so strange, as a polite way of putting it. You know, why, if something was going to go wrong, it would go wrong with us. Different things like that. And when my kids would say they were in pain, he believed them. He learned to tell. There were a few times he was faking, but he learned to tell. Well, another thing was he wouldn't let me force treatment, which I was grateful for. I don't think a doctor should be bullied into giving a treatment. They should be willing to stand up and say, this treatment isn't right and isn't the best for you or your family. But at the same time, they should be willing to search for answers. And that was the huge difference. He encouraged seeking answers, but not being bullied into doing tests or things like that he couldn't see a purpose for. If a kid wanted an antibiotic, he wouldn't give it if he didn't believe that it was a bacterial infection. If it was a viral, no, you aren't going to get an antibiotic to take care of it. And I really appreciated that about him. And I encourage people to find providers like that. So down the road, many different issues, different things like that, still no answers. And I had been diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis, and my son was having some of the same symptoms. So he sent him down to a children's hospital, but also gave him a referral to my rheumatologist because he was almost 18 and my rheumatologist wouldn't see him until he was 18. Children's hospital, no, we have no answers. It wasn't the first time. It was the first time for this condition, but not the first time they had no answers. And my doctor's going, this is ridiculous. What they're saying is not, it doesn't make sense. Something is wrong, and they're saying there's nothing wrong. I know something's wrong. I can see it. I know this kid well enough. I can see something's wrong. And so he had us keep the appointment with my rheumatologist. And it was at that appointment, we were only there about 5 or 10 minutes, before we walked out with with an EDS diagnosis for my son. And the rheumatologist said, you aren't going to be able to get in to see a geneticist, just live with it. My doctor said, we need to know what's going on. We need to know what type it is and everything else. And he proceeded to call our EDS clinic that was there at the time and found out it was a 2-year wait. And so he said, so what do you do there? I need to know. I need to know what I can do. And he wasn't getting very many answers, but at the same time I was on a Facebook group that was willing to share with me some of the things that they did, including where the doctor did the genetic testing from. And I told my doctor. And my doctor looked it up and ordered the test for me. Because we figured whatever I had, my kids have. And if I had it and and came up positive for something, they would test my kids and my parents. So we figured that was the best way to go. And so he immediately ordered it. He has constantly done research. We were only diagnosed about a year ago, and he's doing about as much, if not more, than they're doing at our EDS specialty clinic through the state. And yet, it doesn't take that long to get in to see him. And he cares. He cares about each one of his patients. And he'll check in with me even when I'm there for one of my kids to make sure I'm doing okay. And he'll check on my kid who's not even at home, not even in the state. when we come in for a different kid because he cares. And I think that's huge in for doctors. Just showing you care and being willing to learn. And as I said, if you're looking for a doctor, a big thing is to look for one who's not afraid to say no, but is also not afraid to learn. Thank you for your time. Bye.